Whitney Webb is an investigative journalist, very smart. I sometimes say she's like a walking encyclopedia. She's been on the show. One thing about Whitney Webb is that she knows her data, right? Like facts just kind of spew like out of her head. And now she's being challenged, like out of nowhere. All of a sudden, all these people are attacking Whitney Webb. It was really weird. I'm like, where is this coming from? And why now? People are accusing her of being black-pilled because she is not willing to lie about their favorite politician. Now, it all started with this from Brett Weinstein. Brett said, America has left the WHO, the WHO. Well done, President Trump. Thank you. So a lot of people that supported Trump, and even some libertarians, former RFK supporters, were very happy about this one. Very happy that he decided, okay, we're going to leave the WHO, right? So Whitney decided to just forewarn everybody for a second. And this is when people start to lose their shit. To be fair, Trump also left the WHO in mid-2020 and then just redirected what was once WHO funding to the Gates-funded Gavi Jab Alliance. We got to be careful on YouTube. While leaving the WHO is positive, it is not the slam dunk some people are advertising, especially considering Gates' recent comments on Trump's enthusiasm for his jab innovation proposals. So Whitney is pointing out here that, number one, this is not the first time that Trump has done this. She's there to remind people he did it also in 2020. And I think we all know, what happened after that. And apparently people did not like her saying this. Troy said Whitney is a boss. She is. She is, man. Oh my God. She said, I got called a lot of names for pointing things like this out. But remembering what happened the last time is important and often instructive about the present, especially when few people in media are inclined to point these kinds of things out. So Whitney is giving everybody a heads up. Okay. She's trying to warn you. Don't get too excited about that. Let's remember what happened before and that this could happen again. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. However, if you're a stan, you might get offended. And it appears that is what happened. So here come the attacks, folks. Walter Kern, of all people, jumped in. And they must have sent out like some type of maybe they're all in a DM group together. And they must have sent out a PR message that said, go after Whitney. I don't know, because it was just one after another. I couldn't keep up with all of them. So listen to this. Walter Kern says Whitney Webb is a black-pilled artist with a bot army and a live troll army and many odd munchkins behind her, plus lots of other curious resources. And I'm just like, this dude just called people munchkins? Like what? Like what? This is too much. This is too much. So he goes on to say, follow how she does her thing for a little while. Her techniques are simple. No one is as radical and brave as Whitney. No one sees the deep layers like Whitney. Optimists and enthusiasts and people who get a little upbeat about any non-Whitney approved leader or figure or policy are dupes. They might even be secret agents or super quadruple, ultra mega, crypto, Zion, Theo, Musk, left, right, everything, octopus. That only Whitney is truly opposing on this godforsaken, tokenized commodified poison for profit, etc. Earth of ours. Okay. So notice the Thiel Musk, like the Peter Thiel thing, which Whitney has a lot of information about that. Again, she has the data to back it up. So dude is taking great offense. Lana says, Walter, you know better. It's pretty bad. So he goes on to say, and where am I here? Follow the responses to this post if you want to see what I'm talking about. And don't ever let her bum you out or turn you against one another or cause you to suddenly lose all faith in people you used to like or trust before Whitney, the only true seeress, came along. She who sees through all the ops. I know the game when I see it. I play it now and then myself. We all do, but not like Whitney. So this is coming from Walter Kern, who is an author. I believe one of his books was made into a movie. I think it's called Up in the Air or something like that. George Clooney's in it or something. But anyway, you guys get what's happening here, right? So he's going after her. And Jeremy Lafredo from the Gray Zone, he says, Walter, what Whitney's saying is entirely true, though. The last time Trump left the WHO, he gave all the money to Gates, whose priorities are the exact same as the WHO and is the biggest funder of the WHO. So good job there, Jeremy. And then Walter Kim goes, that doesn't matter. So now facts don't matter. So she's telling the truth, but it doesn't matter. How does it? I can't make this stuff up, you guys. People just and then of course Nick, my comrade Nick here from RBN says, so you are essentially mad because she's not buying into your cult and you can't debunk her. And it wasn't just him. Alexandros Marinos comes in. I guess they go tag team each other. Your favorite black pill. See, now everybody's black pill. See how they got the same talking points? Your favorite black pill dealer, Whitney Webb here with more trash data and vague insinuations. In this episode, she claims Trump redirected WHO funding to Gavi. In reality, she is asserting that unrelated funding from U.S. aid to Gavi was made because of the withdrawal from the WHO in 2020. Okay. It goes on to say the U.S. aid funding to Gavi was part of a long-term funding stream that U.S. aid had been providing to Gavi since 2001. So, and he shows the chart here, right? So he's showing that here's all the contributions, right? And he shows the different fiscal years and how much aid has been contributed, right? But what he wasn't paying attention to, because Whitney comes back and says, I know you love to try and dunk on me previously over critical comments on Elon Musk, who you love to simp for. But the U.S. did increase funding to Gavi after the WHO withdrawal, and Trump publicly praised Gavi the same month he took the U.S. out of the WHO in 2020, and he promoted the partnership with them. I never claimed U.S. funding for Gavi only started after the WHO withdrawal in 2020. That would be your misleading claim, just so we're clear. So again, probably not the best person to challenge with data. Again, the data matters. And Whitney's really good at this. So like I said, she does have a lot of data to back up what she's discussing. She has a lot of sources. So it goes on here to say the funding that had been for the WHO was used to boost Gavi funding and also helped finance Operation Warp Speed. Good to know that's what you carry water for. Also, others have covered this in detail at the time, like she's talking about Derek Bros, and she says also the last American vagabond. So that was her responding to Alexandros. And you can see the data that she shares here. The U.S. funding of global health strengthens for the jab fight, right? And I'm sorry, this is very small for some reason. And it says it right here. The U.S. has donated 1.16 million more to Gavi, right? And this was June 25th of 2020. So this is from the U.S. Embassy in Georgia. So like I said, she's really good at backing up her data. And this part right here, President Trump provided a statement of support, for Gavi at the Public Gavi Pledge Conference hosted by the United Kingdom on June 4th. The other source that she shares here, let me just make this one bigger. US 8.8 billion pledge for Gavi. And it says smashing US 7.4 billion goal. So they went above and beyond their goal. And look who it shows here. So this was April 6th of 2020. And there is Donald Trump. U.S. President Donald Trump makes rare show of global health solidarity in a video message at the Global Jab Summit. So this is why, oh my God. This is why, and I think Walter Kern hosts a show with Matt Taibbi, but this is why it's like, you can't let like your passion or your, I don't know, standing for said politician to blind you from the data that is presented in front of you. It's just like the data that I showed you guys before, that for the people who are blaming Jill Stein for the reason why Kamala Harris lost, the data shows that's not the case. The data shows that even with all of her votes and Cornell's votes and with Claudia votes, Kamala still needs much, much more to still win, that doesn't close the gap. So if you are a stan, then you might just say, no, I don't care. That doesn't matter. Data doesn't matter. I don't care because this is how I feel. And it's all about my feelings. So if you're standing, sometimes you can overlook the data. Or I don't say overlook it. You don't want to pay attention to it. You're just like, yeah, whatever. I don't care. Right. But what was more interesting to me was that it was like this collaborative effort of them all to just come in, swoon in, and attack her back to back to back. So again, I don't know if they're in a DM group somewhere of just going back and forth with each other, but Whitney doesn't stand for any politician and she doesn't side with either party. In fact, I want you to hear what she said here when I talked to her last time about these two political parties. So this is not someone who supported Joe Biden or Kamala Harris, and she didn't support Donald Trump. Listen to this.
The solutions that we need to look for are local. If people want to look or want to vote for somebody, that's your choice. And I'm not telling you what to do on election day, but unfortunately, Americans and a lot of other people in the world have sort of this nasty habit of thinking that all they need to do in terms of political activism, no matter how bad things are, is just vote once every 4 years and then go back to sleep. And I don't think that is a winning approach at all. So you can vote for whoever you think is the lesser of two evils or whatever, which is what a lot of Americans have been doing for decades now, and expect a different result. But it seems very unlikely that it will result in anything different. And like you said, I think local organizing locally and building resilient local communities is really the only way forward, because the government is too corrupt and they're not going to come save you in the next crisis. Instead, during the next crisis, they will try and impose more surveillance and control over your lives and steal your money to transfer it to the oligarch class.
So did everybody hear that? If you haven't seen that interview that I did with Whitney, make sure you watch that. Get some popcorn because it's really good. Like she goes through a lot of things. She does talk about Peter Thiel. She talks about like the transfer of money and how these politicians are in bed with a lot of these billionaires, especially Trump, who is a billionaire, right? So she's really good with that. So this is why I wanted you to hear that, because I wanted you guys to understand she's not a political stand. Her job is to expose the truth. Her job is to uncover corruption. That's what Whitney Webb does. And when you are an investigative journalist like that, and you're trying to expose the truth, like she did about Jeffrey Epstein, she wrote books about this. When you're trying to do that, you kind of can't really stand for a politician, because then that means that you would be favorable to that one that you're standing for. So, people seem to like her until like when she criticizes Trump, then it's like the Trump supporters or people on the right have a problem with her. When she calls out corruption about Biden or the Clintons, then it's all of a sudden Democrats have a problem with her. So she can't win. But that's what a real investigative journalist does. Right? Like you're going to call out corruptions on all sides. It doesn't matter what political party it's a part of. But what is happening is a lot of people have once again looked at someone like who Trump's the president now, and they're like, this is our hero. This is the person that's coming to save us. And Whitney is trying to get you to pump the brakes on that. And is trying to tell you, this is not what you think it is. And I think when you stand, you don't like hearing that. And the data is like right in front. Oh my gosh. So we always say protect Whitney, don't we, on the show? We always say like protect Whitney Webb because she has uncovered, a lot of things, especially about Jeffrey Epstein. And you got to protect people like that, because people will see her as that's someone that the establishment will view as dangerous. People say the establishment views Bernie Sanders as dangerous. And I said, if they thought Bernie was dangerous, he wouldn't be in the Senate. They're more likely to view someone like Whitney Webb as dangerous because she's calling out corruption on all sides. So there's that. Hey guys, this was a Sabby clip. If you like what you saw, hit that like button and subscribe.